Welcome to SO 106, Study Session 7, Motivation in Community Development. Introduction. The word motivation comes from the Latin root word mova, which means to move, against the background of general meaning of the historical background of the word motivation. As a concept, motivation is used to describe the forces acting on or within a person to explain the initiation, direction, intention, and persistence of behavior. Motivation is the process of arousing movements in the organism. Learning outcomes. After you have studied this study session, you should be able to 1. Discuss the term motivation. 2. Identify the implications of motivation in community development. And 3. Enumerate the factors of motivation. The concept of motivation. Motivation as a concept used to describe the forces acting on or within a person to explain the initiation, direction, intention, and persistence of behavior. Corman, 1974. Perception of motivation comports with the general motion of renowned psychologists on motivation. Many psychologists opine that motivation as a force determines the basis for the varied activities of individuals and groups. The law for learners' participation in community development, therefore, depends on the motivating factor. Motivation is a process of arousing movement in the organism. The movement is preceded by and regulated through the release of energy within the tissues. In his attempt to give an operational definition of motivation, Akonde, 1987, asserts that motivation is the degree of personal involvement in the learning process. Such personal involvement is based on a burning desire to do what one is told to or compelled to do. Motivation, according to Akonde, 1997, could be low or high depending on the interests, perception, hope, and aspiration of a person vis-a-vis the relevance of a given learning activity to the satisfaction of such hopes and aspirations. In an effort to have good understanding of the concept of motivation, it is requisite to grasp the terms such as motives, drive, and needs. Aiken, 1969, submits that motives refer to an inferred internal state of the organism, which arouses activity and directs the organism's behavior towards certain objects or conditions called goals. Furthermore, in understanding the concept of motive, we need to consider the meaning of the concept need. Effort has been made above to consider the conceptions of psychologists on motive and need. For example, lack of sufficient sugar makes the tea tasteless, and this may necessitate looking for some sugar to add to the tea. The need is the lack of water in the tea. The tastelessness of the tea in the mouth is the motive, while sugar searching and consumption are behaviors. Implications of motivation to community development. Community development faces the problem of ignorance. That is why community development is not being accorded with prestigious consent. This is probably due to its interconnection with adult education. The fact remains that development is far away from the people who refuse to come together and jointly find a solution to their common problems. Motivation is such an appropriate strategy of introducing substantial innovation to the status of community development. Community participation cannot take place in community development without the adults being motivated accordingly. Anyan Wu, 1992, asserted that community participation can be assured where the initiative of the people is sufficiently stimulated to arouse their enthusiasm and all-hearted involvement. It is the burden of this part of the work to examine the implication of motivation to community development. In general, motivation at its core deals with why people behave as they do. Many motivational theories have been propounded as ways to x-ray and explain human behavior. Even though motivation is an elusive term, its powerful influence in the lives of individuals cannot be denied. For this work, efforts shall be made to examine the major motivational factors to participate in community development. Uses of motivation to community development. Psychologists have found motivation to be very useful for several reasons. Motivation helps to account for variability of behavior, to relate biological processes to behavior, to make observable behavior more intelligible, to assign personal responsibilities for actions, to explain perseverance of behavior despite adversity. Akonde, 1985. Motivational factors to community development. Attitude. Attitude is one of the motivational factors for an adult's participation in community development. Attitude guides thoughts, feelings, and behavior. It is a powerful influence on human behavior. Attitude is learned through experience, direct instruction, identification, and role behavior. Hence, they can be changed. Coleman, 1974. Attitude with a knowledge basis is acquired in conjunction with competent motives, that is, the motives to acquire a clear, stable, and consistent picture of the world. The attitude of an adult determines what motivates him to participate in community development, that is, learning about and developing their community. If an adult has an attitude with an utilitarian basis, he or she will participate to have his or her needs met. He will be seen discussing his value-laden attitude. Such a person develops natural repugnance against those whose worldview is indecisive in relation to community development. Community development leaders or agents of change can talk, show evidence, list logical reasons for the program, and if necessary, give testimony to the positive results of community development. Need. Houston, 1967, argues that satisfying one's needs is bound to involve a certain amount of difficulty. Many factors, such as limited resources, ineffective need satisfaction pattern, and so on, may be responsible for the difficulties in needs satisfaction. However, one is highly motivated to have his needs met. Therefore, one takes several steps in satisfying the pressing needs. The motivating factor of needs may be defined as normative when it constitutes a deficiency or gap between a desirable and the standard that actually exists. Maslow's hierarchy of needs is one of the most commonly used theories to explain and organize the motivational strategies in community development. Anyan Wu, 1992, pinpoints the essence of participatory research technique in community development. Stimulation. Stimulation in any change in our perception or experience with our environment that makes us active. For example, we are attracted to the colorful objects. When we hear something new, we tend to listen more carefully to the sound. When we touch something like an electric wire unexpectedly and retract our hands from it. All these are stimulating experiences. Stimulating experiences can be interesting, frustrating, invigorating, and irritating. Whatever their quality, they will get our attention and tend to keep us actively involved. Akonde, 1985. Stimulation sustains the interest of the adult to participate meaningfully in community development. Another motivational strategy for enhancing and sustaining stimulation is to let the adult participants in community development realize their accountability. For community development, some which can act as a sort of motivation should be promoted. It is stimulating to tackle community problems in various ways to maximize learners' participation. Emotion. As one of the motivating factors, emotion may serve to direct behavior either towards some desired objects or condition or away from some objects or situations. One becomes highly emotional as he confronts emergency situations. For example, one will be emotional seeing fire burning in a house very early in the morning. It is emotion that drives a person forward in coping with a situation over a long period of time than it will be possible if you were entirely calm. Akonde, 1985. Emotion also enables an individual to exert maximum strength momentarily. Strong emotion renders an individual less sensitive to pain. For example, a person who sees a lion advancing to attack will run faster and longer for safety without feeling the pain of the protracted duration the running may take. He is able to endure the stress imposed by running because he does not want to die. A community leader will increase emotional responsiveness in adults in a community if he tells them that the building of market stalls will help boost their economic status. People are ready to participate in those activities that have immediate relationship to their personal daily living. Community change agent is conducting a seminar on alcoholism as a community problem. What are the implications of this information to the communities of those adults present, and more importantly, for their families? The closer we bring our programs and skills to the adult people here and now, the more they will emotionally participate in the program. Competence. Competence is defined as a concept of major motivation factor that describes our innate desire to take the initiative and effectively act upon our environment rather than remaining passive and allowing the environment to control and determine our behavior. It is generally held that human beings inherently desire to gain competence over their environment. The level of competency of adult learners rises as they are being provided with consistent feedback regarding their mastery, progress, and responsibility as they participate in community development. Reinforcement. Reinforcement is one of the motivating factors responsible for the community developer participation in community development. It is defined as any event that maintains or increases the probability of the response it follows. Community development agents of change should therefore help adult learners to be aware of the positive changes that have occurred in them due to their participation in various developmental programs. The interest of adult participants increase in community development as they share together what they have gained in their participation in the program. Corman, 1974. As they share their experiences of these things gained by participating in their program, the phlegmatic adult learners can then wake up and participate fully. This will enhance high motivational force in the adult learners to participate meaningfully in community development. Study session summary. In this study session, we examined the significance of motivation to community development. We first defined motivation as a process of arousing movement in the organism. We noted that the love for learners' participation in community development therefore depends on motivation factor. Motivation is such an appropriate strategy of introducing substantial innovation to the status of community development. Community participation cannot take place in community development without the adults being motivated accordingly. Finally, we discussed some of the factors in motivation that are very fundamental to community development. These factors include attitude, need stimulation, reinforcement, emotion, and competence. We have come to the end of study session 7. Thank you for listening.